us knocking, don't you? Well, let us in. Boston has entered the chat. Travis Thomas with my main man, George Balekji here. And as always, we always say you are our co-host. Hit us up on the Boston has entered the chat hotline, 617-790-0928. You can't call us? Don't fret. Email us at thechat@nesson.com as well. Send us your tweets. We are all in this chat together. Welcome.
Great to be with you after that exciting. To me, that was it. I mean, the series was done after the Game 2 win. That exciting Game 3 by the Celtics, my man.
Yep.
It's all about, and we'll get into it, but it's all about looking towards the finals to me.
Oh, we're looking past you, Pacers.
It's Pacers team.
Hey, Game 4 tonight. Get your brooms out.
They knew in Game 3, like, the Pacers would let them back into it, just like they did in Game 1.
Yeah.
They knew eventually, like, this team sucks. We keep shooting, keep hitting, get stops, we'll get back in. That's what happened. 3 minutes left.
Well, we will break down Game 4 tonight against the Pacers and look ahead to the finals, apparently. Plus, we'll skate to the ice, and we'll predict who's going to the Stanley Cup finals, and we'll bid farewell to one of the GOATs in a sport that you would never think of otherwise. We'll explain coming up in this fine program, but first, we got to get this off of our chest. George, do the honor, sir. The floor is yours.
I just got to come out with some praise. Shout out Boston College women's lacrosse for winning the national championship. Second in program history, and they beat Northwestern, who won it last year, and beat them in the finals to get this crown.
Let's go.
Kayla Martello, 5 goals, 1 tournament, most outstanding player. BC, Trev, they were down 6-0 to start the game. Came back, rallied, and won 14-13. Again, second natty in program history. And also Shea Dolce, their goalie, 9 saves. Had one with under 30 seconds left. That was just ripped by Northwestern. They were hoping to send it to OT. No go. Shout out to BC winning the natty.
Let's go, BC. Nice job. All right, let's start with the Celtics here. Now, you've already alluded to this.
Yeah, the series is over. Out. Celtics won the series 3-0. You only have to win
3-0.
They only had to win 3 games. Pacers like, we're done.
Waving the white flag. Celtics in 3. We quit. I mean, look, Game 1 was devastating. We talked about how the Pacers choked Game 1 away, right? And the Celtics were really, let's call it what it is, lucky to get that win. And we thought at the time that would take a lot out of the young Pacers team who had not been there. But Game 3 I thought was worse for the Pacers because they were without their best player in Tyrese Halliburton. And they still, look, kudos to them, tip of the cap to them. Like, they gave the Celtics everything they could handle. Celtics were down in the game late, came back, stole that one from them. So I think Game 3 was even worse on their psyche. I do agree with you. And by the way, even if we're wrong and the Pacers win tonight, which would be a shocker to both of us, they ain't winning anymore after that. It's over in 5. But I do believe, get your brooms out. It's a sweep. And by the way, George, credit to the Celtics for this. We have seen them in all these series leading up to this one have a brain fart at some point in a series. Hasn't been in closeout games, and we haven't really seen it. I guess Game 1 you could maybe say that they had their moment, if you will, but they still won that game. And it appears to me like they could be peaking at the perfect time going into the NBA Finals.
It is the Pacers, though. And I'm going to give the Celtics credit, but it's Indiana Pacers, awful defensive team. Got here because they beat a Knicks team that was depleted. And again, in Game 3, like you said, without Tyrese Halliburton, who drives so much of their offense, they kept the ball pressure. I mean, Andrew Nembhard was playing his ass off, hitting every tough shot. And given, this is a game that opened up, what was it? Celtics 32-31 to start. Both offenses on fire. Pacers went to the locker room at halftime up 12. They were leading by 8 with under 3 to play. And then it was Holiday layup, Brown floater over Miles Turner, Tatum 3, which was his only make of the fourth quarter. That behind-the-back pass to Al in the corner who hit his 3. Holiday with the and one, and that's what sealed it. So it's just like the layers that this team has. What impressed me with it was Jason Tatum's overall game.
Yes.
Like start to finish, his shot was there.
Yep.
Playmaking, rebounding, all that.
Yep.
But on a night where Derek White just didn't have his shot, and when you had Drew Holiday so much struggling from the floor overall as well, especially, second, third quarter, where the role guys behind him and Jaylen Brown didn't have the best night offensively either, but Tatum was there. That's what this team has with the confidence of they know late in a game they always have a shot because the amount of dudes that can hit big-time shots.
Right.
And, of course, the steal by Jrue Holiday to seal the victory overall, which is something that's great. But Tatum said it. It was in his first answer in his post-game press conference. He's like, we felt lucky that we were playing as bad as we were, and we were only down 13 to 14 points on the road. Being down 14 points, now no lead in the NBA is safe as it used to be because of how good the offensive play is and the talent and depth and all that.
It's a game of runs.
But for him to straight up say, like, we were lucky, we were only down 14.
Right.
For any other team, they feel that pressure and they're donezo. It is good to see them battle through that adversity, come back from that deficit. When their offense wasn't clicking, especially defensively, they were bad, and Pacers were hitting a ton of tough shots.
Yeah.
But for them to come back and do that, again, back to the wall, so when they're faced with this type of scenario in the finals, they can draw from this experience. The issue is, and I keep going back to it, the killers they'll face in Dallas or Minnesota, they're not going to let that offense get stagnant or struggle to find good shots to hit or not be able to hit tough shots like the Pacers were down the stretch.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'll say this, to kind of counteract that, I guess. I mean, I don't know how many teams, certainly none of the teams left in the playoffs, can flip that switch that we saw the Celtics flip. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to be otherworldly talent to, as you said, to be down like that and just say, all right, guys, enough's enough. We're going to win this game. Let's do it. And boom, almost like Thanos, it was instant. They were able to turn it around and steal that game from the Pacers. And you're right, it's the Pacers, and I understand whether it's the Mavericks or the Timberwolves, they are a cut above the Pacers. They're in a different weight class. But again, just the ability to even do that, to even do what the Celtics did, tells you it's a few things. A, championship medal, and B, championship level talent, because who in the hell can do that? The Celtics can, that's who. And I believe they're the only team left in this playoff field with that ability. But you don't want to get to the point where you have to flip a switch to get it done, to your point, because you're going up against some dogs. You're going to have to come in there ready for a dog fight.
Especially what either the Timberwolves or Mavericks will emerge from.
That's what I'm saying.
And Jrue Holiday, only guy with the ring on the Celtics team. Kyrie Irving, only guy with the ring in the West.
Oof.
And I could be off by like a player or two. But like I'm saying as like the big players.
That's the big guys.
But there's where that experience draws from. And I think that's what's important. Keep in mind, Holiday playing through, battling with a fever, couldn't make it a shoot around, shows up for his team. And he's saying, it's game 3. I don't care. I'm playing. That's just still important because we have to remember how young this Celtics team, when it comes to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they still are. They've just been doing it for so long, they feel older. But Tatum at 26, Brown at 28. These guys have had the playoff experience, but to like once again lead by example of an actual winner.
Right, someone
where
who's
Drew
done
was
it.
saying, yeah, it's not Marcus Smart anymore. Like, yeah, guys, experience. No, someone that's actually done it and been through the ringer to do it and learn from Giannis as well. Like, dude, yeah, I got a fever, but I'm going to show up. Like, that has to have an effect on this team, too.
Of course.
And they've loved Drew since he stepped in day one, but that has to have an effect on this team. So I just think it's what you get it done with. Again, I point out, I just pulled it up. Derek White, Jrue Holiday combined 0 for 8 from the floor in the third quarter. And it was where Tatum kept this team afloat. They would get a big stop, Derek White shoot a 3. And this is where you see the issues with the offense. Where you're like, all right, Joe, we get it. You love the effing three-pointer. But, like, lay off when your guys don't have it. Like, stop. Tell Derek stop shooting because he's strong and can go to the cup. But that's what they kept doing in that point, and it was killing me. They were 2 for 13 in the third alone. 16 for 46 from 3 in that game. Like, you're chucking up 46 when you don't have it and you're forcing Derek White to shoot it. I get what the offense is, but that team is soft defensively. Just go and attack them. Yeah. And that's where you want to see those adjustments come from them.
We saw Tatum for once. I mean, I couldn't complain at all from his Game 3 performance. We saw Tatum attacking the rim.
36, 10, 8 assists, 1 steal.
I mean, absolutely amazing game from him. If anything else, I mean, to be honest, I just felt myself saying, I wish I had more of this from you. Attack more than you usually do, but at least he did it in Game 3. All right, so George and I agree. Get your brooms out. This thing is over tonight. What say you? 617-790-0928. Leave us your voicemails. We get to them on the show. If you don't want to do that, you want to email us. You could do that too, the chat at NESN.com. You can also send us your tweets. We're going to get to some tweets here shortly. We are an interactive show. This is Boston has entered the chat. That's all of us, so we need you involved. And I need you on this one as well. Celtics have ruled Kristaps Porzingis out for Game 4. I'm saying I think it's a mistake. I think you play him. I don't feel comfortable with bringing this guy back for the NBA Finals, knowing he'll be 100% at that point, right? But I feel like you're putting too much pressure on a Kristaps Porzingis who has never won anything. He's never won a title. This is not Drew Holiday we're talking about. You can't draw from any experience there. Now, all of a sudden, you're going up against a much higher level of competition, and regardless of who comes out west, than anything you've seen in the East. He has not played in over a month. And now, on the biggest stage, with all the chips on the table, you're just going to say, go out there and play, man. You'll be fine. The hell? I mean, I need to see him for Game 4. I don't need to see him for significant minutes. I'm not saying he's got to drop 30. I just need him out there. Go get some burn, get pushed around a little bit, feel the gameplay, literally get your legs under you, and then take him out. Here's my issue, and I'm not blaming Joe Mazzulla here. This is just an observation. This guy, Joe Mazzulla, plays his stars deep in the games where you have clearly beat the hell out of the other team, and you're just asking for a catastrophic injury. Don't even get me started on Porzingis getting hurt. He shouldn't even have been in the game, but that's another topic for another day. So you play these guys late in games, right? But now you got a dude who, I mean, let all of us tell it, your championship aspirations are counting on this guy, and you're not going to give him some burn in a closeout game just to get a feel for it, and then he has rest on the back end of it. Just play him for a little bit, let him get some quality minutes, let him run up and down, test the calf, get him out, and then rest him. I think this is a mistake from the Celtics not playing this dude some. I get the theory before you call or you send your tweets or you email us at the chat at NESN.com and you say, yeah, but Travis, like, you want him to be 100%. No Shaq, Sherlock. Like, I get it. I get the theory of why you sit him. But I guess I have some trepidation here of, okay, cool. He's 100%. He's never been to the stage. I mean, you got to let this guy play a little bit here before you put all the pressure of the world on his shoulders. I think not playing him in Game 4 for at least a little while is a mistake. What say you, George?
4 of your 5 best players have been at this stage before.
Yeah.
In conference finals and in the finals.
Yeah.
I think it's rest because this is an injury with a calf strain that time is the best thing to treat it. Let it keep working back the strength. Let it rest. Let it recover. Because every time he uses that muscle, it like tightens up and it's stressed. And that's what could cause the injury if you rush back from it to be an Achilles. They got the guys because he hasn't played since April 29th. Game 4 will be his 10th game missed in these playoffs. If he comes back and it's a finals, or if it's Game 5, that'll be right before June. But if he comes back, Game 1 of the finals, that'll be like June 5th or 6th, I believe. Like, that's going to be 6 weeks, 5.5, 6 weeks on the dot that he was able to rest and recover. And if they sweep the Pacers, which they should, that'll give them time to get in the practice gym. Everyone recover, but go to Porzingis like, all right, let's get it. Let's run him up and down. Like, let's get 5-on-5 going, 3-on-3, whatever it could be. This is a team that, if the Pacers were able to inbound the ball, get fouled, and hit free throws in Game 1, and if they were able to close out and hit shots in the final 3 minutes of Game 3, and this was a 1-2 deficit in the series that the Celtics were facing, Porzingis plays Game 4 or 5, I think. By saying that he's out Game 4, but also there was a Woj report that he could return, that's saying that, all right, we need him. He can play. But look at the series in hand. Like, why rush him back? When the more you rest him, that's more of a positive pull, more of a net positive for the team than if you just bring him back, get him that run. But, hey, here's a likelihood of him re-aggravating
He tweaked it.
But the longer you rest him, the likelihood of him re-aggravating it goes down. You just sit him. It's all about the finals for this team. And I get it, though. Like, get him the run. Get him in real game. Banging against bodies. We saw that from him 60-plus games this season. We know what this team looks like with him. When you have the experience, and you said he's not on that stage, when Tatum, Brown, and Holiday and White have all been in the finals, but one of those guys has won it, those are the ones you lean on to help him get through that spot, in my opinion. There.
Yeah. Look, the reports are suggesting that he's ready to go, as you said, right? And they're just holding him out for precaution. Is this one positive of if you don't sweep the Pacers, if you lose Game 4, do you see Kristaps Porzingis? I know he's ready, but do you believe you see him in Game 5?
I mean, my scenario is that if they were down 2-1, that's all right. We need him back.
So you don't see him in this series at all?
At all.
See, I believe
they wouldn't have said anything if Woj didn't put out the report for Game 4.
I believe Game 5 could be what I'm looking for. I think Game 5, maybe they trot him out for a couple minutes. He's on a pitch clock, minutes restriction. You get him in and out.
I'm just like, what does that look like? But you can recreate that to a better extent in practice. Like have him bang around with a Luke Cornett who's banged up as well. And Al Horford and Xavier Tillman. Like, what does Miles Turner provide? The three-point shot. He's bigger, but just if you want him to bang bodies, you can give him better looks by having him go against your players on your squad. There's a more talented team. It's like 5 to 10 minutes, but there's the ramp up,
sure,
and all that. I mean, maybe in that way of have him active, but I don't even want that. But just have him keep going through like what the pregame routine is, getting him back ready to normal shoot around.
As
like,
if he's
have
ready
his whole
to
body,
play.
Exactly, as if you're going to play. Like get your body
his
back
routine.
used to the game situation.
Yeah,
I just can't. They're not going to need Porzingis. I wouldn't even mess with it until it's a finals because more rest is better than an earlier return, obviously, for this type of injury.
Well, some of this too is the difference of philosophy between us, because you've said from the beginning this guy's going to get hurt in the playoffs. And I was like, no, he's not. He's going to be fine. Sure enough, he got hurt.
Yeah. And
then you were never convinced he was going to come back as soon as everyone thought.
Or just him to say, I'll come back at a historic rate. Like, dude, you always get injured. But and it's because he's so important to who they face in the finals. Whether it's Gobert and Towns or it's Gafford, Washington, Lively, and shoot, the Mavs could get Kleber back as well.
Yeah.
In his rim defense, how they defend the pick and roll as well.
Right.
But his three-point shooting to draw those bigs out of the paint. Now, Al Horford can do it, but we've seen what happens to Al Horford when you get his minutes hiked up.
That's right.
And when you have Luke Cornett playing 18, 19 minutes a game, he's a traffic cone. Guys
he's not
go
playing
right by
well
him.
either, yeah. He's not playing well.
What Lively can do to expose, especially with Luka and Kyrie on the pick and roll.
Yeah.
And then same thing when you have the Timberwolves attacking downhill, off dribble handoffs, what they'll do to everyone wants to isolate Al Horford, especially the skilled guards are going to face. You need a Porzingis to get Al's minutes down, but everything he does. And then offensively, how he can open up the paint for the Derek Whites. The Drew Holidays, for him, it's post up or three.
Sure.
And obviously for the two J's. I just think he's so important. You need him to win the finals. I think it's going to be Dallas coming out of the West, especially against that Mavericks team. That is just rest him and have him as close to whatever he can be, 90, 80, 100% in the finals.
Who's your X factor if we're looking ahead to the finals? Is it Porzingis? Who's the X factor moving forward now? Let's go ahead and sweep the Pacers out of here and start looking ahead to whoever comes out west. Who's the Celtics X factor? Is it Kristaps Porzingis?
They need a great Jason Tatum to win the finals.
Yeah.
But yes, Porzingis is an X factor.
Okay.
Because I try to think of, obviously you need your best players to show up. So no duh. Like Tatum's X factor.
You need Tatum and Brown.
But think about the Warriors as NBA champions.
Yeah.
And what Andrew Wiggins brought to them on both ends on the floor. Iguodala back in the day. Or just think about the Nuggets and how important Aaron Gordon was to win in the finals.
Jamal Murray.
Exactly. Now, if I don't go Porzingis, and I just said all the reasons why, I would look at Jaylen Brown. Because you'll have Drew Holiday defending Kyrie Irving. Jaylen Brown's going to draw that Luka Doncic assignment.
Or
Ant-Man, exactly.
Right.
Or Karl Anthony Towns.
Right.
Or when he's on the floor, like could be down low with a Naz Reid or on the perimeter with him too. I think you're talking X factors. It's Porzingis, what he does for rim protection, how they defend the pick and roll, how he can clear up the paint and draw bigs out with his three-point shooting prowess and how they can run the offense through him. I think it's Porzingis, but I also think it's Jaylen Brown, who's been phenomenal for them all playoffs long. But what's been so good about him, especially in the regular season, he would be their best or second best defender, picking up the toughest or second toughest assignment from the opposing team.
I think that's probably a felt perspective. I feel like everyone probably feels the way you do on that. I'm going to go a different direction, which is what I always do. I throw curveballs. That's what I do. I'm going to go Joe Mazzulla, and here's why. Here's why. You know, in the East, he, at times, when he has been exposed coaching-wise, the coach who has exposed him, Eric Spoelstra, comes to mind. But they didn't have the horses necessary to really capitalize on that exposure. You with me? I don't care who comes out of the West. Chris Finch can coach. Jason Kidd can coach. They have the horses.
They do.
And so I get worried in that while the Celtics have Clydesdale horses, like horse for horse, you're good. Finals matchup, regardless. Talent-wise, you're on par. The X factor, a lot of times, comes down to coaching. And so I worry you get in a tight series, 2-2, I don't know, or whatever it is, and all of a sudden, let's say it's a Jason Kidd, is just adjustments, game plan, clock management, all the things that go into coaching. He's doing it at a higher level than your guy. Uh-oh, you're in trouble. Or Chris Finch. Uh-oh, you're in trouble. So that's my X factor. And I
agree.
I've also been giving Joe Mazzulla credit, too, at every turn. I give him credit when it's due, and he's done a better job. He's improving with every playoff series. Right now, I said this to start the show. Feels like this team is peaking at the right time. Joe Mazzulla deserves a lot of that credit.
Yeah.
But that's an X factor for me I'm going to have my eye on when we get to the finals.
When you're down 13, 14 points against a Pacers team that's hitting every shot, and you still have the resiliency and persistence to come back from that.
Yeah.
And it's not one guy. It wasn't Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown taking over.
That's right.
But it was a Drew Holiday. It was an Al Horford stepping up when you needed to. That speaks to the coaching.
Yep.
But to your point, the X factor in this, Jason Tatum had a great night. There were times in the fourth quarter, he only had 4 shots, only made 1.
That's right.
You would see him go stretches without touching the ball because the Celtics would get a stop, come down other end, quick 3 by Derek White. You can't do that if you're a Mazzulla. You have to make those in-game adjustments. Why did it take so long for O'Shea Brissett to see the floor?
Yeah.
Things like that. That's when you need to make it happen.
All right, you get involved. 617-790-0928. On the Boston has entered the chat hotline. Leave us your messages. Also, email us, thechat@nesson.com. And send us your tweets, and they're always rolling in, GB. Let's get to them. Of course, I feel like now everyone feels like we do, where you're just looking past the Pacers and looking on to the finals. KG3 sends this to us, Pacers fans right now.
Yeah, depressed-looking Pitbull.
Just feeling just soulless right now, GBZ.
Yeah, a little depressed-looking Pitbull just sitting on the couch. Done everything I could.
Done everything I could.
That's just them sitting at the couch after every game.
Josiah Johnson, who's always a good time, tweets, Pacers trying to get a win from the Celtics. I mean, just doing anything.
And it gets stolen every time. The Celtics have... Honestly, it's more of if this kid was giving the ice cream back, that would be more spot on. Because the Pacers have the win. They should go to Celtics here. Here you go.
Break out the broomsticks. Pacers are getting swept. Indeed. That's how we feel, too. A little Miss Doubtfire gift there.
Well, think about like the Pacers, 10 seconds left in game 1. They're like, cool, we got to win. Gone.
Right.
You know, shoot lights out, lead big, get that punch. You're at home, first game back, everything good, and then that win disappears too. Just that, it's what do you come back with? Like, we gave you our best, and we gave you our first look without Tyrese Halliburton leading the offense.
Yeah.
And knew there would be an adjustment need to be made by the Celtics from there. Andrew Nembhard played out of his mind.
Yep.
Miles Turner less foul trouble, which was more important for the Pacers too. Siakam was great as well, and all goes away.
By the way, that Miss Doubtfire tweet reminds me. My wife told me this weekend that allegedly, it's a rumor, there's a Miss Doubtfire remake with Will Smith as Miss Doubtfire and
Of
Zoe
course.
Salanda as his ex-wife.
No.
George just said
It's a
no.
It's a perfect. I like Will Smith is.
Why would you remake that?
Will Smith is doing it for the bag. Yeah, you think it's
You
just
leave
suck.
some movies you leave alone, right?
That's yeah. That's gonna be weird. Mrs. Doubtfire in 2024 is going to be interesting.
I love how
when
you
was
said
that made?
no.
Like, what was that made? Like 96?
It was the 90s.
Yeah, and it was like before. Yeah,
Right.
That's gonna be weird.
It's
Mrs.
gonna be
Doubtfire in
weird.
2024.
It's just a rumor. We
I'm not
shall
watching.
see. But my wife told me that, and I had the same reaction as you.
Just no. It's a great movie.
No.
And it was Robin Williams, one of the all-time greats.
Hey, send us your emails, the chat at Nesson.com. Our guy Roy from South Boston sent us one. He asked, what will Jason Tatum have to do to surpass Paul Pierce in the all-time Celtics rankings?
I like that because Paul Pierce is top 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, is Tatum even in the top 10? Now, like numbers, stats talent, score. Think of Tatum, 4-time All-NBA, first team the last 3 seasons. This is his 5th Eastern Conference Finals. Led him to the finals once. Is flirting with top 5 MVP voting. Right, and only 7 seasons in, how good he is, too. So much left. He messes. Once he gets a ring, to me, he passes Paul Pierce. Because think of Paul Pierce, 3 Eastern Conference Finals, 1 finals win.
A lot of losing seasons for Paul Pierce before the end, remember?
He played 79 games in 2006, and the Celtics missed the playoffs.
Right.
And not until you got Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen.
That's what I'm saying.
And do the big
a lot of
3
losing.
that
He had
you
the
win.
numbers, but a lot of losing.
4-time All-NBA, 1-time first team for Pierce. I mean, Tatum, once he gets a ring, he passes Paul Pierce.
I think he's already passed him, but I think the ring
You need a ring. You need a ring.
Yep.
But you can't say, like what Paul Pierce did in those postseasons.
That's right.
And even think about 2010 finals loss to Kobe and the Lakers.
Right.
2012 Eastern Conference Finals run into LeBron and the Heat. So who knows? Maybe Paul Pierce has another ring in there. But those teams that they ran into, which is the same thing you can say for Tatum. Maybe he has a ring if they don't run into Steph and the Warriors in a revamped team, right?
Yeah, I just think Tatum in general, you need one ring to be in all these conversations. Not only great, all-time great Celtics, but all-time great basketball players, period. Now, if he can get multiple rings like his idol Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant, then you could be having different conversations with Jason Tatum all time. Not just Celtics lore, I mean ever. But, you got to get one at least to enter the chat, if you will. So, but I think he's already better than Paul Pierce. I'm not going to lie to you. I already believe all time I would have Jason Tatum over Paul Pierce, but you must get the ring to even really have that conversation at all.
Do you put him top 10 in the Celtics?
Who? Tatum?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, numbers-wise, he's undeniable.
Yeah.
But again, in this town, we're not like New Orleans or like Utah or something here. Like, championships.
There's 18 rings.
Yeah, like championships have to matter. So, yes, statistically, he already is. Mm-hmm. One of the greats all time. But you gotta. It don't mean a ting if you ain't got that ring. You gotta get it.
It's like you look up the list, right? And you'll see the John Havlicek,
Right.
Kuzis, Sam Jones, who has 10 rings, right? Like, you can't mess with that.
Bill Russell,
that's 1 or 2 with him and Bird, right? Then you think, like, I pull up, like, it was like Bill Sharman, averaged 21 points per game in the 50s, which is like a nuts number.
Right.
Won 4 rings. But there were 11 teams in the NBA at the time. So, with all respect to Bill Sharman and his family and those 4 rings he won for the Celtics, part of their first NBA title, 2 and 57, like, how do you not put Tatum in the top 10? And you know who gets into the conversation of top 10 if he gets a ring? Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, sure.
8 seasons,
sure
6 Eastern Conference Finals, 10th all-time in points per game.
Sure he does.
9th in postseason points. 3rd all-time in 3 field goals made, right behind Tatum and Pierce.
Yeah.
9th in triple-doubles with 3. This is my favorite. Bird is number 1 with 59. Nuts.
Yeah.
But that's what Jaylen Brown ranks. And even think about what he's done in his evolution to Celtics. Came in as a 6th man. First time in the playoffs, played in 17 games. Earned his way to a 3-and-D guy. Was a role player. Was a number 3. Now a number 2. Now, not a number 2, a 1B, 1A.
Yeah.
That if he gets a ring, because of how talented he is, where he ranks in the all-time in just 8 seasons for this team, he moves into that top 10 conversation too.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But look, these guys have been linked together their whole careers for obvious reasons, and I don't think that's going to change when you start talking legacy stuff. I don't necessarily think we're going to, in history, separate these two probably the way we should. I think what's going to happen is you're going to judge them as a combo, as a duo. And they have an opportunity to become an all-time. Again, let's zoom out from the Celtics and just think big picture. They have an opportunity, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum I'm talking about, to be an all-time great duo in the NBA.
Yeah.
Great 1-2 punch all time. If you can get multiple rings, you could become the greatest 1-2 punch of all time. So this is the kind of things legacy-wise that they're playing for.
And what we could see if Luka and Kyrie beat them.
Yeah.
That's Kyrie's second ring, his first without LeBron.
Sure.
This is the best offensive backcourt in
the NBA
by far. A lot of legacy
stuff. Yeah.
It's those
Luka,
two. And then what can they get another?
Yeah.
And they're doing in the era with the Jokic's, right? With the Giannis's, with the Tatums and Browns.
Sure.
It's a good point. It is legacy, and it is who they have to go through. It wasn't about the East for them.
Yeah.
But if the Mavs come out of the West, or the Timberwolves come out of the West,
young
both
Anthony
great teams.
Edwards. I mean, you thought you already heard the Jordan comparisons with him. Let him get a ring this year. I mean, it's going to be nauseating. Look, I got a chance, even though it was the end, I did see Larry Bird's last stages of his career. He was still getting buckets, but he wasn't playing as many minutes. His back was just falling apart at the seams. But I did get a chance to watch him at least. You did not. Who's your favorite Celtic of all time, just personal, that you've watched? Is it Paul Pierce? Is it Tatum? Is it Brown?
I would go Jason Tatum.
Okay.
As someone I literally watched him from when he came into the league and paid attention to him. And this was someone that I loved to watch before I even got to Boston, started working here.
Yeah.
It's when I go around the league, like some of my favorite players, like is it Giannis? Is it Tatum, right? Mm-hmm. Is it Anthony Edwards? I always like watching Luka. Like, no duh, these are like the best players in the league. I would go for me. It would be Tatum. And when you say that, though, I'm like, all right, what's the first name? Who's the first person that comes to mind? It would be a Paul Pierce, but also Rajon Rondo.
Rondo was a baller.
Throwback point guard, so smart, man. Couldn't shoot worth a lick. And it didn't matter what he could do defensively and how he can finish around the rim.
Baller.
And his playmaking ability. So, yeah, I'd go Tatum. I love watching him play. And it's not the prettiest. Like, he's not the most athletic. Like, Jaylen Brown's more athletic than Tatum. Yeah. But Tatum's talent and skill is so refined. Mm-hmm. If he gets a consistent jump shot to add to it, like consistent three-point jump shot, then that's when he really becomes a top 3 MVP. He's done everything else, though.
Yeah.
Playmaking, defense, a monster on the boards. Needs to play to his size.
Yep.
And needs to play to his confidence because it's not there all the way.
No doubt. What
about for you?
Well, it's Larry Bird.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the end, but it's still Larry Bird. I can't go anywhere else. For all the latest on the Celtics, check out Hold My Banner, full episode on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you follow us on all your social media accounts for all of our best content. All right, let's skate to the ice now. Both conference finals in the East and the West have been exhilarating, close games, overtime games, slobber knockers. I mean, absolutely low-scoring, hard-hitting, high drama. Mm-hmm. So let's reset where we are now. Do you still like your prediction? Because I said I think we're going to get Connor McDavid and the Oil against the Florida Panthers, who, for my money, the Panthers were the most complete team I watched all year. And I believe that would pay off in the playoffs. We shall see, but I'm sticking with it. I'm going Panthers Oil, and I think the Panthers will bully Connor McDavid in the finals and win Lord Stanley's Cup. Where are you on predictions right now?
Stars Rangers. I'm sticking right there.
We're going opposite.
I mean, the Rangers are just as deep scoring-wise as the Panthers and responded huge after dropping Game 1 and getting shut out at home 2-0. Game 2 win. Game 3 in overtime, and the 5-4 shootout. It's, to me, but it's like, what do you get? Who and what type of Igor Shesterkin? Because I rely on him so much more than I would on Sergei Bobrovsky. And then the same thing with Dallas. Odger started the net every single game this postseason for him. They've ridden him all the way. He's the best goalie remaining. Same thing. And they have the veterans, the Pavelskis, the Suitors, the Sagans leading that team, along with great scoring from their blue line as well. So it's funny enough, too, before either the Eastern Conference or Western Conference Finals started, Rangers were plus 380 to win the whole thing. Now they're plus 230. You know who's plus 380? Florida.
Yeah.
And then Dallas still sticking second shortest odds, plus 250 now. Maybe they were favorites before it started. I think it was Panthers.
It's damn Rangers.
Panthers were the favorites, actually, now that I remember off the top of my head.
It's damn Rangers.
And eventually the President's Cup curse has to be broken. Like, that stank has to be lifted. It happened in Boston. It happened in Chicago. We've seen it happen elsewhere. Eventually that's got to go away.
What would be the most devastating way the Rangers lose?
Why would you
Connor
do this?
McDavid, hat tricks?
No, at least it's Connor McDavid, the most dominant player.
Oh, so be maybe like the Stars just dismantle them.
No, I'm picturing
light up Igor.
No, they don't even make it. They lose to the Panthers. That'd be the most devastating to me.
Oh, that would be
Yeah,
the
you
most.
don't even get
you don't
in.
even get there.
They're a better team than the Panthers. They're a better team with a better goalie. Just as talented in their top
Is it
six,
going
if
7?
not more. No, I think go 2-1, but it went to overtime. I mean, it's been thrilling. It's tough to not say 7, but I'll go Rangers in 6.
Ooh.
Panthers win another game. The Rangers aren't going to win 4 straight against Florida.
No.
So I'll go 6 on
I think it's going 7.
What about you? Like, how are you feeling? Both your teams.
I know. Well, it's all right. I mean, listen. Look, I'll be honest. My heart quit once the Bruins went out. I don't give a damn. I mean, I'm just telling you I think's going to win. But if I'm completely wrong and you're right and it's Rangers Stars, great. I'm still going to bet the game. I don't care. Like, once the Bruins went out, I was already I had tapped out as far as, having a dog or a horse in the fight in the race. But look, I'll go down with the ship. I mean, I'm the brother on the Titanic. I'm playing the violin while it's sinking because I'm still rolling with the Panthers, and I still believe out west McDavid is just too special. And I'm not saying any of this stuff is fixed, but I know one thing. Boy, does the NHL want Connor McDavid in the finals. You know it. I know it. Edmonton knows it. Everyone knows it.
I don't think the NHL is that smart. I don't think Gary Bettman is that smart to, like, let's get our best player, most dominant player in the national spotlight. I don't think they're that smart. Honestly.
He doesn't care. He's like, whoever's there.
They're just dumb. Like, they don't realize, like, Connor McDavid being in Edmonton, what's that doing? The time of these puck drops, who they're competing with on nights.
Don't get me started on that.
And I just think in general, I don't think the NHL is smart enough.
I saw something the other day. It might have been on Twitter. And it was like, it was like a poll question on Twitter. And it was like, do you think the WNBA ratings and just popularity and everything, we know with the Caitlin Clark and all the rookies, they got a lot of juice right now. And so the Twitter poll was like, do you believe the WNBA will pass the NHL
yes.
within the next year or two in popularity?
The NBA is leading the WNBA. They know what to do marketing-wise, what these players are, the
they
stars
lean
that
into
they are.
their stars.
Exactly. It's better I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's marketing, it's TV deals, it's exposure. And like the ratings, I don't know what you can believe because everything's the new high. And now they're counting if a game's on, on a tablet in a household and also on the TV screen. And if it's on at bars, how many TVs it's on.
Sure.
But I just think the WNBA in popularity, and when it comes to household names, I bet more people know who Caitlin Clark is than Connor McDavid. Yeah. That's an indictment on the NHL.
Yeah, I would agree. Who's
the biggest name? Who's the biggest name in the NHL? Who's the biggest star?
Right.
You'd say it's McDavid. You'd say Cale Makar, right?
Yeah.
McKinnon.
Yeah.
You'd say, you wouldn't even say Mika Zibanejad on the Rangers.
No.
You could say Pasta on the Bruins too,
Pasta.
right?
Yep.
Can't say Kachuk on the Panthers. No one outside of Boston, diehard hockey fans know that. You take a Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese photo, Asia Wilson.
Yeah, for sure.
Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu. You take that, more people know who they are.
Yeah.
WNBA passed it, in my opinion.
Wow.
It's just like it sucks because the NHL is so great, that product and the playoffs, but they just can't get out of their way of like the TV deals.
Yeah.
Playoff games,
marketing.
what time there are. And it comes to the marketing, putting the players
I'll say
out
this. I mean, look, for what we're saying right now, then the Rangers winning it would be great for hockey. You have the major market of New York. They have a lot of stars on that team. They got some star power there. They can market. Keyword.
International too, like Panarin, Zibanejad.
Yeah. Shesterkin.
Yeah.
So I think for the lifeblood of hockey, the Rangers winning would be great.
Wow.
As opposed to a Dallas Stars team.
Or the Florida Panthers.
Or Florida Panthers who their fans, I mean, they don't even care down there.
Good for them. They fill out that stadium, but it's like a forgettable franchise.
Yeah,
like
it
the
is.
Florida Panthers.
So for the sake of hockey, what would be best for hockey would be Connor McDavid, a marketable star.
Well, but McDavid's not
the
marketable.
Rangers.
He's like a Mike Trout. Like he talks and he's just like, you're better off just staring into the sun.
He's a wet blanket.
Not even watch. Yeah, he's a wet towel, wet blanket. He's useless. Not even like watching paint dry. He's less than that. And what you get with New York, yeah, it would be New York. And even if it is the Rangers and people hating on a city like New York, like Boston catches the same hate. It's good for the sport. Hate is good. You'd rather have hate than people not caring.
You have to evoke
like
an
Edmonton
emotion.
wins, and you're like, nice.
Right.
I get, but then it's Canada getting their first Stanley Cup in forever.
Yeah.
But it's all those teams split.
Just evoke an emotion, whether you love or you hate me. Just feel
There's be a
something.
lot of people like, oh, Edmonton won, nice.
Right.
Cool.
No,
Good for
that's
them.
fair. That's a
Or at
fair
least
point.
New York wins. And if there's heartbreak in Edmonton, if the Rangers beat the Oilers and Canada came so close to that cup and didn't get it,
Right.
then there's that push to get them back to it.
All right. Here's some breaking news in the sports world. I know it's going to devastate all of us. Kobayashi is retiring from competitive eating.
This hurt.
This is a tough moment here for us here at Boston has entered the chat. Kobayashi, it was great watching you mow down all those hot dogs and everything else that you ate, man. And the game's going to miss you. Congratulations. Tip of the cap to Kobayashi. Your thoughts, George, at this difficult time for all of us.
I saw that he's retiring and this quote. I hear people say they're hungry and they look very happy after they've eaten. I'm jealous of those people because I no longer feel hungry.
Oh,
That is one of the saddest
that's
sentences
a sad quote.
I've ever seen in my life.
That's a sad quote.
So, dude, retire. Stop stretching your stomach. Stop the training. That sounds so devastating.
Well, he
to
says he's having like health concerns, and I bet his body is broken. I mean, bro, like you didn't think about that before you scarfed down 10 gazillion hot dogs? Like, well, I mean, look, I know this. Joey Chestnut is going to have to be carried out of this game. I mean, that dude has
Nothing
all
stopping
the
him now.
dog. Nothing. I watched a weather delay. They were trying to cancel it or move it to the next day. Joey Chestnut said, hell to the no. We're going to wait out this rain, and I'm going to crush this record. And he did. I've seen protesters run up on stage when Joey Chestnut is in the middle of doing what he does. My man didn't break stride. Put homeboy in a headlock, shoved him out of there, and kept it pushing. Kobayashi just doesn't have the dog, pun intended, that Joey Chestnut does.
If you had to do a food eating contest, what would the food be?
Not a damn one of them.
No. Come on.
But I do have a story.
Hold on. That's BS. You always answer. I always answer. You got to give me.
Nah, I mean, listen.
Yes.
I got a story.
You have to.
I once
All right,
judged.
think about it while you're telling
I once
the story.
judged
This is BS.
a hot dog eating contest.
Nice. Where?
In D.C. for
Nice.
All-Star Weekend for MLB.
Nice.
And I
Wait, how
had
do you
to
judge
judge. Guess who I had to judge? Former Red Sox. Maybe you heard of him, Kevin Millar. And
That's a character. That's a good
I was
one.
in charge of counting how many hot dogs he ate.
Did you add some?
Kevin Millar told me before we started, I ain't got it in me. He pulled a Kobayashi. I ain't got it in me, man. I said, I got you. I said, just do the best you can. He was eating them.
You added.
Oh, I cooked the books. Oh, George, I cooked the books. I had Kevin Millar eating all kinds of hot dogs that didn't happen. Now, he didn't win.
What'd he get to?
I don't remember. But he was so appreciative and thankful, even though I cheated my arse off. He didn't tell me to, but he was appreciative that I did.
All right.
I do chicken wings, I guess, George. I'm not a fast
That's
eater.
difficult, though. You got to clean the bone.
I'm a volume guy. I'm not speed. I'm a volume. I could get a ton of them done.
I am speed multiple times I've been eating, and someone's told me, like, are you okay? Slow down. No, I kid you not.
They were concerned.
It was surprising someone putting down my breakfast before. And they're like, oh, they're on the way. They weren't. And someone's like, stop, you're good. They're not on the way. And I go, yeah, I'm just eating. It would have to be hot dogs. Honestly, like it just sounds solid. Like I could have a ton of hot dogs.
Yeah.
But if I want to go sexier than that.
They're sexier than that?
What do I just can never get enough of? I'd go Oreos. Double stuffed. And I won't mess around. Double stuffed. And I'll drink the milk after.
And then dip the milk?
I can
All right.
put down 3 sleeves of Oreos. So a full thing of double stuffed Oreos. I can put down 3 sleeves. If I'm hungry, I can put down 3 sleeves in like a night. So let's compress it into a time. I can do that. No problem. I need some PEDs, but I can do that. No problem.
I think we'll leave it on that note. I need some PEDs, but I can get it done.
First time I ever tried golden double stuffed Oreos, the drive back from Walmart, it was sitting in my passenger seat, whole sleeve gone. It's like a 10-minute drive, not even. No PEDs at that time.
I think we can end it there. Boston has entered the chat till we enter it again and have an eating contest. Travis Thomas, George Balekji, peace.
Later.